Hi there. Real quick before we jump into the episode. If you enjoy this episode, or any of the other episodes, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe. It would also be great if you shared it with a friend, or better yet, left a review so others can know how awesome it is. Thanks so much. And now, the episode.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome to the Press Start Leadership Podcast, the podcast about game-changing leadership, teaching you how to get the most out of your product and development team and become the leader you were meant to be. Leadership coaching and training for the international game industry professional. Now, let me introduce you to your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher Mifsud.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome back to another awesome edition of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. On this week's episode, we'll be discussing trust but verify, balancing freedom and accountability as a leader in the video game industry. Learn how to build trust, maintain accountability, and lead creative teams effectively in game development without falling into micromanagement. Leadership begins with trust and succeeds with verification. Over the course of my career in the video game industry, whether running teams inside large studios or building new ones from scratch, I have come back to one principle again and again: trust but verify. It is simple, clear, and endlessly useful. It also happens to be one of the most misunderstood leadership ideas, especially in creative environments like game development. Trust but verify does not mean assuming people will fail. It does not mean hovering over every task. It does not mean micromanagement disguised as guidance. What it really means is this: I believe in you enough to give you autonomy, and I respect our mission enough to make sure we stay aligned. Game studios thrive on independence and self-driven creativity. Programmers experiment, designers iterate, artists explore, and producers balance the chaos with process and clarity. For innovation to happen, people need room to breathe, explore, and own their craft. At the same time, games do not ship on good intentions alone. They ship because leaders build structures of accountability and visibility that support their teams. Whenever I enter a new leadership role or begin a new project, trust but verify becomes one of the first principles I put into action. It lifts people up while ensuring they have the support and structure they need to succeed. It keeps communication transparent. It helps me catch misalignment before it becomes a crisis. And it strengthens relationships rather than straining them. In this podcast, I'll break down what trust but verify looks like inside a game studio, why it is essential, and how to implement it in a way that empowers your team rather than undermines them. I will share how it has shaped my own leadership journey and offer actionable steps for game industry leaders who want to build trust while maintaining clarity and accountability. Let's begin with the first half of the phrase, trust. The meaning of trust in a creative industry. In the video game industry, trust is not optional. It is the foundation of every successful studio, every effective team, and every healthy production cycle. This work requires creativity, vulnerability, problem solving, and countless hours of collaboration. Without trust, teams become tense, defensive, and afraid to take risks. With trust, they become empowered, aligned, and inspired to create their best work. When I lead a team, I begin by trusting their expertise. I trust that the programmers know what they are building. I trust that the artists understand the visual identity. I trust that the designers can craft compelling experiences. Trust is the baseline. Without it, you cannot build morale, momentum, or innovation. Why trust matters in game development. Trust allows teams to take creative risks without fear of punishment, move faster without waiting for approval for every minor decision, bring forward ideas and concerns openly, feel ownership and accountability, reduce stress and tension during challenging phases. Teams know when they are trusted, they feel it. It shows up in how leaders speak, how they listen, how they delegate, and how they follow up. When a team senses trust, they step up. When they sense doubt, they shut down. Where trust goes wrong. Trust becomes a problem only when it is blind. Teams need freedom, but they also need direction, alignment, and support. Trust without visibility leads to confusion. Trust without communication leads to fragmentation. Trust without accountability leads to disappointment on all sides. This is where many leaders fall short. They assume trust means they have to ignore issues, avoid questions, and give teams complete independence. But trust is not passive, it is active. Trust means believing in your team while staying connected enough to help them when needed. Actionable steps to build trust in your studio. Communicate openly and clearly. Transparency reduces fear and strengthens commitment. Ask for input before making big decisions. People support what they can help create. Delegate meaningfully. Give tasks that matter, not just tasks that are convenient to offload. Be consistent. Predictable leadership builds comfort and reliability. Recognize contributions. Celebrate progress publicly, not just privately. Trust builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. But trust must be paired with something else. Verification. Why verification matters. Verification is not a lack of trust. It is a commitment to clarity, alignment, and progress. When I verify something, I'm not looking for mistakes. I am making sure my team has everything they need to succeed. Verification is leadership stewardship. Why verification is essential in the game industry. Games are complex. They evolve across months and years. Pipelines contain hundreds of moving parts. A small misalignment early can become a major crisis later. Verification protects project timelines, team morale, creative integrity, financial investment, studio reputation. Without verification, leaders are guessing, and guessing is a dangerous way to run a game studio. Verification is not surveillance. Too many leaders think verification means monitoring every task, reviewing every file, or requiring constant updates. This is micromanagement, and it destroys morale. Verification should be purposeful, structured, respectful, predictable, collaborative. Verification is about visibility, not control. How verification improves team performance. When people know what checks are coming and why, they feel supported, not scrutinized. A predictable review system can increase quality, reduce wasted effort, and align departments early. Examples of verification in game production include milestone reviews, feature audits, sprint retrospectives, code and art checks, play tests and internal feedback loops, weekly syncs with team leads. Each of these systems allow leaders to verify progress and alignment without inhibiting creativity. Actionable steps to create healthy verification systems. Define measurable goals. Verification is only useful if you know what success looks like. Schedule check-ins, do not surprise people with them. Predictable oversight builds confidence. Review results, not personalities. Feedback should focus on work, not people. Create transparent progress dashboards. This brings clarity without constant interruptions. Use consistent criteria. Changing expectations creates frustration and fear. Verification ensures alignment. Alignment ensures success. Finding the balance. Autonomy without anarchy. Balancing trust and verification is an art. Lean too far into trust and things become chaotic. Lean too far into verification and morale collapses. The goal is to create an environment where teams feel free to explore but supported enough to stay on track. How I balance trust and verification as a leader. When I step into a new studio or project, one of the first things I do is assess existing systems. I look for where trust is strong, where it is lacking, where verification is helping, where it is harming, where autonomy is empowering, where autonomy is confusing. Once I understand the culture, I build or refine systems that enable independence within structure. Why structure supports creativity. Structure is not the enemy of creativity. It is the foundation that creative exploration grows on. Clear boundaries, expectations, and review points allow people to push their ideas confidently, knowing they will be evaluated fairly and consistently. Creatives thrive when they understand how much freedom they have, what constraint they need to follow, when their work will be reviewed, how feedback will be delivered, what success looks like. Without this clarity, trust becomes chaos and creativity becomes anxiety. Actionable steps to balance trust and verification. Clarify decision-making boundaries. Make sure everyone knows what they own and what they do not. Set teams up for self-verification. Encourage teams to hold their own weekly reviews before leadership steps in. Use lightweight systems like sprint notes or task boards. Keep them simple and visible. Encourage peer reviews. Verification does not always have to come from leadership. Keep oversight predictable. Surprise checks feel like mistrust. Predictable reviews feel supportive. Autonomy and structure are not opposites. They are partners. Building systems that support trust and verification. Good leaders do not rely on instincts alone. They build systems that help teams stay aligned without constant reminders or interruptions. These systems create a shared understanding of progress and quality, allowing trust and verification to work together. Tools and frameworks that support both trust and verification. Agile, Scrum, and Kanban. These methodologies give teams ownership while providing leaders with structured insights into progress. Peer feedback system. When teams develop the habit of sharing feedback regularly, a culture of self-verification emerges. Project dashboards. Visual task boards reduce confusion and allow everyone to see what is happening without chasing updates. Playtesting rituals. Regular playtesting keeps teams aligned around player experiences, not just individual tasks. Documentation templates. Clear templates for designs, pitches, and plans keep communication clean and expectations aligned. Actionable steps to build systems that work. Implement a studio-wide dashboard. Everyone should see where the project stands. Create a predictable review cadence, weekly, bi-weekly, or per milestone. Encourage cross-team transparency. Share progress and challenges openly between departments. Teach self-reporting habits. Help teams summarize their own work and needs. Use asynchronous updates. Not all verification requires meetings. Systems are the backbone of a studio. They give trust a place to live. Communication, the bridge between trust and verification. Trust and verification both rely on communication. Without communication, trust becomes vague, and verification becomes aggressive. With communication, both become supportive, clear, and effective. Communication that builds trust. Open dialogue, active listening, encouraging questions, sharing context, being honest about challenges. Teams trust leaders who communicate clearly, openly, and consistently. Communication that supports verification. Asking clarifying questions. Reviewing progress without judgment. Providing context for feedback. Setting clear expectations. Reinforcing alignment. Actionable steps for strong leadership communication. Practice active listening in one-on-ones. Let people finish before responding. Ask questions instead of making assumptions. Questions open doors. Explain the reasons behind verification. Transparency removes fear. Create communication rituals. Weekly check-ins build consistency. Over-communicate clarity. Confusion breeds mistrust. Communication shapes everything. It is where trust begins and where verification succeeds. Accountability without micromanagement. The greatest danger of the trust but verify principle is slipping into micromanagement. The line between healthy verification and harmful control is thin. Leaders must walk it carefully. How I maintain accountability without micromanaging. How I focus on outcome, not activity. I care about whether goals are met, not whether every minute is accounted for. I trust my teams to organize their time, collaborate, and find creative solutions. Accountability is not about control. It's about clarity and commitment. What accountability looks like in game development. Clear goals, defined ownership, expected deliverables, transparent progress, honest retrospectives, recognition for follow-through. Accountability is not a punishment. It is a shared agreement to deliver on expectations. Actionable steps to create healthy accountability. Define ownership clearly. Everyone should know what they are responsible for. Review outcomes, not effort. Focus on results, not hours. Remove daily status checks. They create fatigue and frustration. Empower proactive reporting. Let teams summarize their own progress. Give feedback based on goals. Avoid emotional or vague comments. Accountability strengthens leaders and teams when delivered respectfully and consistently. Rebuilding trust after it is broken. No matter how strong a leader is, trust will be tested. People make mistakes. Leaders make mistakes. Projects shift. Miscommunication happens. The important thing is how you rebuild trust once it falters. When verification reveals issues, the leader's response determines whether trust grows or collapses. How I rebuild trust as a leader. I approach broken trust with empathy, clarity, and openness. I look for what went wrong in the system, not just in the person, and I make repairing trust a shared mission. Actionable steps to rebuild trust. Address issues privately. Never shame someone publicly. Explain the problem with clarity and respect. Focus on facts, not blame. Listen to their perspective. There's always more to the story. Reaffirm confidence in them. People grow when they feel supported, not punished. Fix the system. Investigate what process failed to catch this issue sooner. Trust is fragile, but it is repairable, and repaired trust is often stronger than before. Final thoughts. The Leadership Balancing Act. Trust but verify is one of the most powerful leadership philosophies I have ever used in the video game industry. It has guided me through team transitions, production challenges, studio growth, and creative reinvention. It has helped me build stronger relationships, ship better games, and create cultures where people feel valued and supported. Trust gives teams the freedom to explore. Verification gives them the structure to succeed. Combined, they create a balanced, empowered, and aligned studio environment. In game development, where uncertainty is constant and creativity is everything, trust but verify becomes not just a leadership principle, but a survival skill. It is a philosophy that keeps leaders calm, teams confident, and projects on track. Believe in your people, support them with clarity, walk with them, not above them, and always give them the trust they deserve along with the structure that makes their success possible. This is the leadership balance that allows studios to thrive and leaders to grow. When you trust well and verify wisely, you lead with strength, empathy, and purpose. All right, and that's this week's episode of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thanks for listening, and as always, thanks for being awesome. Oh, hi. Man, the episode's over, but thanks for sticking around till the end. Be sure to check out more episodes in the playlist and new episodes every week on Monday. Follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave a review. Thanks again for being awesome.